I have come across this library called Caveman, and I want to explain what this is and what I think about this library. So, this is approximately 2 weeks old library. It's not even 2 weeks, and it has gained 24,000 stars, which is a huge deal. If a library has gained these many number of stars, it basically means it has momentum. It has peaked interest among the developers. Before agentic AI based development began, if a library has gained these many stars, which is a huge deal, it basically means developers really like it and they want to keep it going. They are showing their interest by these stars. So, but nowadays, a lot of libraries and projects are gaining a lot of stars over a short span of time. We have seen that with OpenClaw. So this may be the trend going forward. If a library is really a library or project that people like, then it may get stars very quickly. Yeah, that's just a side note. Coming back to this library itself, this library is there to reduce the token usage. Okay, so this was created to reduce the token usage. If you look at how all the LLMs works, we send input tokens, which is our prompt, and it sends the response back to us, which is the output token. And all of these, I mean, almost all of these LLMs or LLM providers charge you for the token usage. They'll charge you X amount of money for X number of input tokens and Y amount of money for Y number of output tokens. So you're basically charged for the usage of the tokens. So what this library aims to do is, this library aims to reduce the tokens that you're going to use. This is going to instruct LLM to give the output back to you in a short, concise, and terse manner. So the token usage will go down. So that is the whole idea here. So they have given some example here. If you look at here, they have taken one particular technical problem. If you have used React, in React there is this concept called subcomponent being re-rendering. Whenever the parent component is re-rendered, sometimes the subcomponent may be re-rendered for no reasons. There won't be any changes in the subcomponent, but still it will be re-rendered just because the parent component is re-rendering. So if you want to stop that from happening, we need to use this hook called useMemo to memoize that component. So here they have shown the the response from Claude Code for this particular problem. Like how do you address this problem? Why this is happening and how do you address this problem? This is the token that this particular user got in a normal Claude mode. Okay, when they are using Claude normally, this is what they got. But when they were using Caveman as a skill within Claude, this is what they got. So you can see that the tokens went down from 70 to 20, which is a huge reduction, right? And here is another example. In this example, this is the normal mode, this is the Caveman mode, and you can see that it has dropped all the pleasantries, like it says nice thing to you and it tries to be helpful, right? But those are unnecessary verbose tokens that is not directly solving your problem. So with Caveman you will be able to get rid of those additional verbose texts and phrases that helps you to reduce the number of tokens that you use. The problem is still same, the solution is still same, but it has changed the verbosity, so it just consumes less token. So what they are saying is you'll be using 75% less words, but without any lack in intelligence. So they're saying that brain's still big, which means there is no information lost in the process. And it has different modes, and depending on the mode you choose, the verbosity level will change. So light mode being more verbose mode, it is still less verbose than the default mode, but it is more verbose compared to the other two modes they have. And then they have something called full mode. They say that this is the default mode, and they have one more mode called ultra mode. This is like their ultra compression mode. Here they try to abbreviate everything to reduce the number of tokens. And they have these levels for Chinese language as well, actually. So they call it Benyan mode, and in this mode they'll be able to achieve similar language compression for classic Chinese language as well. So I don't know anything about Chinese language, but this is what they claim in the website. I'm just presenting that to you. So they're saying that it is faster, easier to read, same accuracy, saves money, which I agree. It might save money. I mean, it might not be scientific yet actually, but if the number of tokens are going to go down, obviously we can relate that to less cost. I don't know how this is fun, but they're saying that this is fun. So, and then they have listed the agents they support. They support pretty much almost all the major agents. I'm surprised that they have not listed open code as a agent explicitly here, but you can use this npx based skill installation to install this into your open code as well if you want. So now this is the core, this is the important part. So this project is all about skills, right? It is adding some skills to your agent. So there are four primary skills or five primary skills they have. One is called Caveman commit. This is basically going to reduce the size of your commit message. It will focus on why rather than what, and the subject line of your commit will be less than or equal to 50 characters. So this is really good because a lot of commit messages are irrelevant, unnecessary. So this kind of commit message, it will make your commits more meaningful and easier to follow. And then we have Caveman review skill. This skill is going to give the peer review commands, and that comments is going to be of this particular format. Rather than keeping it verbose, it is going to say this is the line number and this is the type of issue, whether it is a bug or something. Then it will explain what is the issue and what is the action you can take to fix that. In this case, add god help skill, which will give you all the things that you can do with the Caveman. They have not listed their main skill as a skill in this table. I don't know why. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. But Caveman is their main skill. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We also have something called Caveman compress. Caveman compress is basically if you give it a file, and that file will be compressed according to Caveman rules. So if you have Claude MD file in the context of Claude code, this will be loaded into your context for every single chat you initiate, right? So this is obviously going to use up some of your context window. So by compressing this Claude MD file with the Caveman compression, it is going to reduce the size of the file or the token in the file without losing any context or meaning. So that you can do using this command once you have installed it. And similarly, you can pipe through any files. It just doesn't have to be claude.md. It could be any different types of files that you have, like readme, to-do list, and so on. So they have given examples here, and they have also showed what kind of savings you'll get in the tokens. And they have given some benchmarks. I'm not going to focus too much on benchmarks because I don't know how reliable these are. This could be different from model to model. It could be different from one person to another person. So a lot of factors might affect these things. So I'm not going to take this seriously. I'll take this with pinch of salt. But at a high level, we can see that the number of tokens it gives you back as an output is much less compared to the normal mode. So that is a clear winner. Then they have given the star history. You can see this went crazy after this, right? After 5th of April, it just have seen an exponential growth. So that's basically this library. Now I want to show you some interesting bits in it, which is the skills part of it. So this library is all about, or this project is all about skills for your AI agent, right? So skill is nothing but a set of instructions. Okay, so we have them here in this folder. When you install this library or when you add this as a plugin to your agent, these are all the folders and files that will be created in a location that your agent considers a skill, so it will be able to use it. So what is a skill? Skill is nothing but a knowledge base of how to do something. If there is a way to do something in a better and clever and efficient way, you can create that as an instruction and give that instruction to your AI agent. So whenever your AI agent needs to solve the problem or do the task, it will use the instruction that you have given. So that is basically a skill is. So skill is slightly different from MCP servers because for skills, not all of the skills will be loaded into the context by default. Skills will be loaded on demand. It will be lazily loaded. If you take an example of this Caveman skill, this is the main skill for this particular project. You can see here that this is the skill table, or the skill information. It has a name called Caveman and it has a description. The description says that this is ultra compressed communication mode. It reduces these many tokens, and it also gives the trigger word. So when user says Caveman mode or anything like this, then this skill will be activated. So what AI agents will do is they will load this table, this table into their context. They'll keep it as a indexed skills within their context. They'll not have anything more than this. They'll have the name, description, and the file path. So they'll have such information for all of the skills available for agent to use. And then based on the prompt that user gives, it will be able to work out what skills it needs to use. So because all of those skills are indexed and readily available in their context, they'll be able to work out what skills they need to use. Once they decided that this particular skill is needed, it will go and load the full content from that particular skill file. So if AI agent has decided that this particular skill is needed for processing this particular prompt that it is currently processing, it will go and load this full file, and it will follow the instructions in here. If you see this file, this is nothing but a set of instructions. It will be like clearly crafted and carefully crafted instructions. It says something about persistence, which means do not go back to previous mode until I explicitly say so. So it will stay in the cave mode. And in the rules it says how exactly the messages or the responses has to be presented back. So this has given some pattern for that, and it explains different levels that we have, the intensity levels that we have. And for each of them you can see that there are some examples. So these are basically information to your agent or LLM, and they will see this and they will understand how this was structured, and it will try to follow it. When it gives the response back to you, it will try to follow the things that the agent has or the LLM has seen in these examples. So that's why that is how these skills works. In some skills we may even additionally have some scripts to run and things like that. All of them will be part of the skill, and if those scripts need to be executed, then your LLM and agent can run them to complete that particular task which is part of that skill. So that is basically what a skill is. Okay, so just want to make one more thing clear. When I was reading through the documentation, I come across this, that they're not compromising on the things they shouldn't compromise. For example, the error messages or the technical parts of the output. For example, the instructions or the code snippets and things like that. They're not actually trying to compress those things, because it won't make any sense to compress those things, right? We just want to reduce the verbosity of the explanations, not the actual technical parts like code snippets and keywords and things like that. So they have put an effort to make sure it is not happening. Yeah, so that's basically it. So if I go back here, there are a few other skills. These skills are interesting. So Caveman commit is again a skill which will tell your agent how to write a clear commit message. They have given some good examples, bad examples, all of them are here. And similarly, if we go back, we can see other skills. I'm just going to quickly look at the Caveman review. This is again, this is the skill table, or the skill information that will be loaded into the context all the time. Then on demand, the rest of the information will be loaded. You can see here that when it is going to create a PR comment, we are instructing it to follow this particular format, rules and everything. So it will follow that, it will create the PR comments for you. So basically that is what this is, but it does it with a different goal, which is reducing the token usage. Okay, so my opinion on this is that it is worth trying. If it helps you, it is worth trying. If it saves you money, it is worth trying. But one thing that I don't like is in ultra mode, if you see here, if you are a newbie, or even in a full mode, if you are a newbie to React, if you don't know much experience with the technology, this full mode or ultra mode for sure will not make sense to you. You probably need to ask more questions, and in that process you might end up using more token. So you need to see what level of information is suitable for you. You need to play with it. If you don't think that this compression is not helping you to learn and understand quickly, you can go back to the normal mode. So it is going to be very subjective and personal. You need to play with it. If you like it, you can stick to it. If you don't like it, you can revert back. But I definitely see some traction in this library. And one more thing worth noticing is that this is not something which is groundbreaking for any of the LLM providers to bake in into their agent itself. For example, GitHub Copilot, they can easily add this as a default behavior, Cloud Code. So yes, it is useful. And if all of the agent uh, developing companies realize that this is going to be really useful, they might include it as part of their agent itself. We need to wait and see what is going to happen. But yeah, that's all about this. I hope this is useful. Thank you.